It's a heresy. The heroes of our religion, of our faith, died martyrs' deaths defending the Catholic faith against lunacy like Christian Zionism. And yet we're like, yeah, we're with the Christian Zionists on this one, man, because we don't know what we believe. Hello again, ladies and gentlemen. I am Michael Matt, and this is the Remnant Underground with breaking news. It's 1980 all over again. Take it away, Vince Vance of the Valiants.
Old Uncle Sam's getting pretty hot. Time to turn Iran into a parking lot. Bomb Iran, bomb, 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 bomb Iran, bomb Iran. The country's got a feeling really in the ceiling. Bomb Iran, bomb, bomb, bomb,
Bomb Iran. Now, the thing is, that old song was recorded 45 years ago. 1980. 45 years ago. So all y'all who think that this war in Iran right now, this war on Iran, has something to do with October 7th or Israel's right to defend herself, or about anything for that matter, other than oil and Israeli expansionism, well, I got some waterfront property in Gaza to sell you. So that my critics can't accuse me with the cheap shot of being anti-Semitic for asking inconvenient questions, I think I'll just let a Jewish guy explain what's really going on here.
First of all, Iran was a democratic country in 1953. The prime minister at the time, named Mossadegh, had this absolutely outlandish idea, which was that the oil under their ground belonged to Iranians. This was a very weird idea because the British knew it belonged to the British. The Americans expected that it belonged to the Americans in the new age. And so CIA and MI6 overthrew the Iranian democracy.
All they need now, because this is hard, MAGA is turning against this. I mean, I'm sorry, but Donald Trump has just split his base right down the middle. So this isn't going easily for them, and they're going to need another big event. They're going to need another Pearl Harbor.
The left is crazy. The right is stupid. So the way you get the right involved is to just tell them they're going to be killed soon, that they're on their way to kill you. They're coming to kill you, and we got to kill them first.
This is insane now, right? You remember just a little while ago, it was Hamas, right? Now it's Iran. And where is it going to stop with Israel's right to defend herself? You're not buying this, are you? You can't possibly be missing what's happening here. Think of somebody close to you, because this is what we have to do. We have to start putting a human face on all of this, which is what Holy Mother Church teaches us to do through her just war teachings. It's a horrific thing. It's not blips on a screen. It's not just statistics. It's not just numbers. It's people dying. I don't care if they're Muslims. And if you think it's okay to wipe out all the Muslims of the world, you've simply ceased being Christian. You know? It's not turn the other cheek anymore. It's bomb the other cheek. Is this what Jesus Christ taught us? Well, they're Muslims, so we get to kill them all. Where does this come from? What are they turning us into? So I want you to think right now, close our eyes, like they say. Close your eyes and just think of somebody you love very much. Think of your son, a baby, your father, a daughter, mother, a dear friend. Now just for a second, imagine yourself seeing that loved one lying on the ground, all white and green and horrible looking, dead, right? With half of the face blown off in a bloody little clump on the ground, okay? Because friends, that's what we're talking about. When we cavalier talk about, well, we're just going to go bomb Iran or bomb Gaza or bomb whatever it is, that's what we're talking about. Putting people's, I mean, you know this, but maybe we need to rethink it. Putting children, putting people's loved ones, transforming them into a pile of dead flesh and bones, dead, right? This is what we're doing to people. And the more we do this, the more we are hated around the world. People say, yeah, man, well, look at Muslims. Look at what they're doing, like in London. Do you think this is going to help? Do you honestly, are you incapable of realizing what happens to young Muslim youth When we decide we're going to bomb the hell out of their countries again and again, all over the place, regime changes all over the place, every one of which is a disaster. Do you honestly think you can kill every single Muslim so now you don't have to be afraid anymore? You don't really think that. It certainly isn't Christian. So then you can imagine, even if you really, really can't stand the Muslims, okay, fine. Is this going to help your fear of them to continue this insane warfare against their countries? And you wonder why they hate us? You wonder why we're hated in the world? Again, friends, this is not our war. You say, well, that's anti-Semitic, Mr. Matt, because look at all, these are the Jews. Bibi Netanyahu, one of my favorite human beings, Bibi Netanyahu, just the other day, a couple of days ago, he said that his country, think about this, let's think about some of this stuff. He said that his country, Israel, is perfectly capable of attacking all of Iran's nuclear facilities without America's assistance. Isn't that nice? Here's exactly what he said. We will achieve all our objectives and hit all of their nuclear facilities. We have the capability to do that without America's assistance. Well, hallelujah, Bibi. Then go for it. Because we've got our own problems. So please, sir, pound sand. We've got our own problems here in this country, and they're getting worse every day. And again, you afraid of Muslims? Do you really think that enraging the Muslim world with another regime change that's going to end up like Afghanistan, you think that's going to make you feel any safer? Isolationism, yes, it's a new dirty word. But the reality is this. The reality is this. The people in Washington, the people in the swamp, the elites who want to go fight Israel's war, they got nothing to worry about. It's a video game for them. Think about it. They travel around with Secret Service details who've got loaded down with guns and surveillance equipment, right? They fly around in bomb-proof airplanes. They're going to be fine. But every single time you and your kids, every time you step on an airplane, remember, you're going to have to wonder if some Muslim kid whose mom got incinerated in Iran is about to retaliate in the only way he knows how. This is how we got the Patriot Act the first time. This is why we're still taking off our shoes like a bunch of morons in airports. Now we get body scans in airport. Why? Because we invaded Iraq and nobody knows why. We got nothing from that one 20 years ago. Here we go again. Are we ready for that? Do you really want to do it again? What's going to be the Patriot Act 2, do you suppose? You want another Iraq? You want another Afghanistan? I don't think so. You want more Muslim riots in the streets of London, the streets of Paris, the streets of New York City? You want that? Yeah? Then hell yes. Bomb, bomb, bomb Iran. Because that's exactly what we're going to get. And the only rationale for all this is, if we don't kill them first, they're going to kill us, right? Oh, man, I've heard that literally all my life.
So what about the story that you hear endlessly that Iran is planning to nuke the United States, that that's on their agenda?
Huh?
Yeah, right.
Huh?
So you consider that like insane?
I consider that so bewildering. If a grown-up says that, we need to have a long heart-to-heart talk about a lot of facts.
Well, yeah, but we need to defend democracy. You don't seriously think that any of these elites give a damn about democracy, do you?
Americans have to come to the realization that this dichotomy, Democrats and Republicans, is meaningless. We're really dealing with a uni-party. We're dealing with an entirely corrupted, dysfunctional system. This thing that we call democracy in the United States is a scam. It's not real.
So if you ask any questions about that, you're an anti-Semite. Even now, as we've found out over the past couple of years, even if you're Jewish, you're still an anti-Semite. Jeff Sachs, well, come on, man, he's an anti-Semite.
The Israeli plan underway to go to war with Iran is very long-standing. That has not been hidden from view. That's been Netanyahu's greatest dream since 1996. Netanyahu's philosophy and approach is dominate the Middle East, use Israel's nuclear monopoly in the region to bludgeon, kill, assassinate, overthrow any government that opposes Israel's actions.
Where people say, yeah, but the problem is you got to face the truth. All Muslims want to exterminate the Jews. It's in their DNA. And I go, well, wow, because, my reading of history is that the Muslim thing was anti-Christian. If you think about Lepanto and the Crusades and all this stuff going back 1,000 years or more, I thought they wanted to exterminate us. But now it's the Jews. They wanted to exterminate the Jews. Maybe. I just wasn't aware of that. And in fact, there are plenty of Jewish voices out there saying, no, that's actually not true.
Everybody knows the history, knows that Jews have a golden life in all Muslim countries for centuries. How can people be so blind? Just open their eyes. I go in many times to demonstrations, and the police stops me before I come in. Where are you going? I go in there to demonstration. What? They're going to kill you. I thought, don't worry, just look. I show you a miracle. I go in between hundreds of thousands of Muslims. Nobody will touch me. You don't have to protect me. Just look. I'm coming every time among Muslims. I never see any anti-Semitism at all.
So what's that then? Is that another anti-Semite? This Jewish rabbi? You see how dumb it is? That's all you got? You're an anti-Semite? Well, I guess you also have the other thing, the Trump derangement syndrome. What is it? TDS, Trump derangement syndrome. So if you somehow can prove you're not an anti-Semite, now you got to prove you don't hate the Fuhrer.
You engage in reckless rhetoric with no facts. And to be clear,
I'm not calling for the overthrow of a government. You
put out a newsletter attacking Donald Trump and calling him complicit.
Never attacked Donald Trump.
Yes, you have. And by the way,
I campaigned for Donald Trump.
Okay, yes.
And this is after anti-Semitism, this is the last refuge. You're an anti-Semite and you hate Trump.
Oh my gosh. Really, Senator Cruz? You're going to go down that road again?
Heil Hitler. Heil Hitler. I'll hear you say it, Colonel. Heil Hitler!
Tucker was all in with Trump, because he thought that we weren't going to have neocon permanent and perpetual wars after Trump got in. And now he's a little ticked off, as are a lot of people who voted for Trump.
I supported him this last year. I apologize for doing so. It was a bad calculation. At the time, it seemed like the right one. But he should be impeached and removed for this one. Wow. And not on some not on some ridiculous Nancy Pelosi. Of course, the Congress will never do it because they're all a bunch of, corrupt hacks.
This is the one thing they support. This is
Donald Trump should be impeached and removed for this. All of his supporters should turn on him. It's the absolute betrayal of everything that he ran and campaigned on and everything that he stood for. So here's what we got. The neocons win. More war abroad and, bomb the world and invite the world. No matter who you vote for, you always get John McCain.
Everybody, we're all supposed to just shut down now. That's what happens before you come to a really scary part on the historical timeline. When they start shutting everybody down one way or another, using the mob or using the Gestapo or whatever, then you're in trouble. And we've been feeling it here since we started asking questions a few years ago on these topics. We too have been told we're not allowed to make observations such as this. So why are so many traditional Catholics closing their eye to arguably the biggest CIA operation in the history of this country? And that is the CIA-backed war for Greater Israel. Do you know what Greater Israel is? Well, we're going to explain what it is in a moment. If you don't know what it is, then you don't know what's going on in the Middle East right now. You don't know, because that's what it's all about, Greater Israel. And it's CIA-backed, and it always has been. Next up, Iran. It's all part of Bibi's holy war. I had critics that were traditional Catholic Latin Mass-going folks who were saying to me after that particular clip, stick to religion, Michael Max. It's what you do best, man. Stay out of politics, To which I say now, and I said then, no, thank you very much, pound sand, please, because I don't see a big difference. I majored in political science and journalism, not theology. I'm not a theologian. And that's just the point of tonight's show. Takes us right into the topic of tonight's show. We, as modern Catholics, post-conciliar Catholics, most of us, we are bringing knives to the gunfight. Because what we don't know and what we don't realize, because we have lost our Catholic identity, we have lost our sensus Catholicus to such an extent that we don't even realize that this is all about religion, right? This isn't about politics. This war in Iran, everybody else knows it's about religion. The Zionists, the Jewish Zionists know it's about religion. They're using the Old Testament. The Christian Zionists know it's about, everybody knows this is about religion and scripture and the Bible. That's the jet fuel for all of this. Muslim religion, Jewish religion, Christian religion. The only ones that don't seem to know that are the faithful Catholics who have been drinking Kool-Aid for too long. Vatican II Kool-Aid. Catholic restoration is what I'm all about down here in the underground. That's what we're all about, because that's how we turn that knife back into a gun again in this counter-revolution. That's how we fight back, by doctrinal integrity, by getting back into this religious war, this spiritual war. That's what this is all about, right? And that's how we fight. Fight fire with fire. They've got an ideology, we've got a religion. You beat them with the religion. That's the thing. That's why the separation of church and state couldn't possibly be any more demonic for me, from my point of view. Because we're using religion to fight against a very demonic political force, which is also using a dark and black anti-religion, right? Problem is, 60, 70 years after Vatican II, most Catholics today don't even realize how religiously emasculated they've become. What water carriers for the revolution they've become. They're proudly going out there and spouting tenets of the revolution and thinking it's somehow conservative. It's Americanist conservatism as they fight for Americanism, a condemned heresy of the Catholic Church. They don't even know that. Americanism is a heresy. Look it up. They don't know. It's so sad to see the result of this revolution in the church, which emasculated Catholics, emasculated the priesthood, Protestantized the liturgy, right? Now we're to the point where Catholics don't even, most Catholics, now I'm leaving you out, this audience is obviously not who I'm referring to at the moment. They don't even know what they believe anymore. They don't even know what the church teaches anymore. And again, I would stress, it's really not their fault. 100 years of modernist revolution in the Catholic Church will do that. It will have that effect. 70 years of Vatican II, of ecumenism and dialogue, being beat to death, just pummeled to death with ecumenical dialogue that everybody's happy. We're all going to the happy place, and there is no true religion, right? Certainly isn't ours. Everybody's religions are fantastic. The last guy in Rome told the world, all religions lead to God, right? A beautiful Freemasonic religious tenet. And that has consequently left Catholics, the vast majority, well, the Catholics that are still in the church, are still bothering to go to Mass, has left them so vulnerable to every cockamamie theory that comes along. So what happens? Well, we're looking at what happens. Look what happened after all these years of revolution in the church. Catholics look at Christian Zionists, for example, not as heretics, but as Bible-believing Christians, just like us. Right on the way to the happy place with us. There's no difference, man. We don't judge. It's a heresy. The heroes of our religion, of our faith, died martyrs' deaths defending the Catholic faith against lunacy like Christian Zionism. And yet, we're like, yeah, we're with the Christian Zionists on this one, man. Because we don't know what we believe. We don't know what the church teaches, right? And Zionists, oh my gosh, Zionism, the Zionism of Israel. Well, that's not a Jewish heresy. Those Zionists are God's chosen people.
The founder of Zionists, his name was Theodor Herzl from Vienna, Austria. He don't believe in God. He don't believe in nothing. The Judaism is completely a religious movement, have nothing to do with any nationality, with any materialistic things. The Zionists often waving the flag of the promised land, the promised land. You say God promised land, you said the Torah. You don't believe in the Torah, you don't believe in God, so you don't eat kosher.
Then there are religious zealots, I would use even stronger terms, who use the book of Joshua, which is 2,700 years ago, that said, well, God gave us everything from the river in Egypt, meaning the Nile, to the Euphrates. And there are zealots in Israel, and they're in the government, who believe, yes, this is God's ordinance. We're going to take whatever we want.
Critics of this show, critics of mine, may be big believers in this law of separation of church and state, but Israel certainly doesn't share that point of view with you.
You must remember what Amalek has done to you, says our Holy Bible. And we do remember, and we are fighting our brave troops and combatants who are now in Gaza or around Gaza and in all other regions in Israel are joining this chain of Jewish heroes, a chain that has started 3,000 years ago from Joshua.
So Israel doesn't believe, I mean, Israel's a theocracy, of course, but also the Christian Zionists, right now, I mean, they don't believe in separation of church and state. Right now, they're using religion. They're using the Bible. They're planning Armageddon, in fact, based on a whacked-out Christian heresy preached by certifiable lunatics.
This week, I'm also creating the White House Faith Office, led by Pastor Paula White, who is so amazing.
Power! And so it's illegal for God to do anything in the earth without someone.
Wherever I go, God rules. When I walk on White House grounds, God walks on White House grounds.
You need to send in $3,500. You need to send in $35,000. You need to send in that $100,000 check. If you do not write that P.O. box and you do not call that toll-free number and you do not become a ministry of sustainer, you will never see sustainment in your life and your dream will die.
To say no to President Trump would be saying no to God.
So clearly, old Pastor Paula there, she doesn't believe in the separation of church and state, does she?
Power!
And we're like, oh, thank goodness, Pastor Paula is a pro-life Christian. That's just fantastic. I'm so glad we have this change of pace in our country.
Power!
Tell us more, Ted Cruz, about what the Bible says.
Where does my support for Israel come from? Number one, because biblically we're commanded to support Israel. But number two,
hold on.
I'm not holding on.
Hold on. You're a senator, and now you're throwing out theology, and I am a Christian, and I am allowed to weigh in on this. We are commanded as Christians to support the government of Israel?
We are commanded to support Israel. And what
does that mean, Israel?
We're told those who bless Israel will be blessed.
But hold on, define Israel. This is important. Are you kidding? This is a majority Christian country.
Define Israel? Do you not know what Israel is? That would be the country you've asked like 49 questions about.
So that's what Genesis, that's what God is talking about.
The nation of Israel, yes.
So is that the current borders, the current leadership? He's talking about the political entity called Israel?
He's talking about the nation of Israel. Yeah, nations exist, and he's discussing a nation. A nation was the people of Israel.
Is the nation
They're the descendants
God's
of
referring
Abraham.
to in Genesis, is that the same as the country run by Benjamin Netanyahu right now?
Yes.
It is.
So says Senator Cruz, who calls this guy, by the way, a religious fanatic that we need to kill before he kills. Well, sorry, not this guy. This is the scary Iranian leader who was going to kill us when I was in high school, I think, 40 years ago. Okay, not now. We'll change it out. Now it's this guy that Ted Cruz says is gonna kill us. Oh my!
Do you think if the Ayatollah could murder both of us right now that he would? I do.
This is what the Christian Zionists are worried about. They're very afraid of this guy. So what we need to do, according to these Bible thumpers, is kill that guy over there before he gets his big gun. And then we need to topple his regime, because then we're going to all feel much safer. Okay? And then in the process, yes, we are risking World War III with China and Russia. But it's worth it, because otherwise that guy might shoot a big missile at us.
Huh?
And the thing is, what I find ironic is this is exactly what these people were saying was going to happen when I was in the 8th grade in 1980, while I ran. They used to try to terrorize us in classrooms about the Iranian towel heads that were coming to get us. Now they're sitting on oil and they're sitting on sea passageways that control the energy for the whole world. $1 trillion location for Iran. But that's not what it is. What it is he's really evil. He's Muslim. He's a bad guy. That's why we need to topple him so that the world is a better place. Hit it, Lucky Lindsay.
So the days of the expecting Israel to sit on the sidelines and not go to the heart of the beast are over. Take this regime down, make the world a better place.
Now, all this is going down, and we're supposed to take this with a straight face. It makes perfect sense. Remember during COVID, we were supposed to follow the science, follow the experts, don't do your own research and all that. So we're like, okay, well, what are the experts saying at this point? The political experts, follow the political science. Well, the political science at the moment, now that we have a new regime who's very conservative, the political experts at the moment are saying that, including the director of national intelligence, who's saying that Iran still, after 40 years, still hasn't developed that nuclear weapon and actually shows no sign of doing it any time in the near future.
What intelligence do you have that Iran is building a nuclear weapon? Your intelligence community has said they have no evidence that they are at this point.
Well, then my intelligence community is wrong. Who in the intelligence community said that?
The Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard.
She's wrong.
She's wrong, Walter. She's just, well, what's she doing there then? Why was she appointed if she's such an idiot? This is nuts, friends. Poor Donald Trump, man. He doesn't want to be doing this, but you know who put him in there? Who gave him millions of dollars to get the White House back, right? And they're collecting on it now, and he has to do what he's told. And this is insane. But that's okay. Donald Trump has to deal with that. We don't have to. We don't have to jump through these hoops, these silly, ridiculous hoops with a gigantic red hat on. We don't have to do that. Because the whole thing with Trump all along was, will he buy us enough time, enough peace to rebuild the church, to rebuild the Catholic counter-revolution, if you will, to go full on recalling Christ, proclaiming his kingship? Would Donald Trump give us the time and the peace to do that? Well, if he's going to go full on George Bush and go blow people up because they hate our freedom and our democracy, just like Bush was doing, we're not going to have that. So there's no point, Mr. Trump. If this is where you're going, there's no point in us continuing to jump through your hoops. So it's time for us to enlist in the real war then, full time. The Catholic restoration, the traditional Catholic restoration, that's the way to get out of this asylum, this insane asylum, right? I'm saying that all along. That's why it was never Donald Trump lead us to the promised land. No, it was Donald Trump. Are you going to stand with us long enough for us to fight the real fight? Apparently not. We're going to war with Iran. And nobody voted for that.